Interested in learning about wine, but not sure where to start? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Cork and Fizz Guide to Wine podcast. I'm your host, Haley Bowman, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm a wine enthusiast turned wine educator and founder of the Seattle-based wine tasting business, Cork and Fizz. It is my goal to build your confidence in wine by making it approachable and lots of fun. You can expect to learn everything from how to describe your favorite wine to what to pair with dinner tonight, and so much more. Whether you're a casual wine sipper or a total cork dork like myself, this podcast is for you. So grab yourself a glass and let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to the Cork and Fizz Guide to Wine podcast. Today, you'll be listening to part 2 of my interview with Jamila Conley. If you haven't heard part 1, I highly recommend pausing this episode and going to listen to episode 106 first. It just gives you a little context to some of the questions here. As a reminder, Jamila Conley is the founder of WeRise Wines. It is a new concept in wine and a movement dedicated to amplifying the voices of underrepresented winemakers and reshaping perceptions of the wine industry. In this episode, we're going to talk about how Jamila chooses the wines and the winemakers that she represents at WeRise Wines. She's going to highlight 4 incredible winemakers. I know I made her only choose 4. There are so many that are making delicious wines in Washington and South Africa. She's also going to share what's next for WeRise Wines and all these ideas she has for the business as the brand and business continue to grow. And there are some really exciting ones. And of course, we'll talk about so much more. She's going to share her favorite wine and food pairing, her favorite wine region she's ever visited. All that fun stuff is waiting for you in this episode. So let's get into it. But I love the connection to people. And it's because it's like, we know people, you can talk to people and ask people about their story and ask them questions. And that's a lot of the wine world, is just learning the people behind the wine and who make the wine, which now I'm very excited for this question. This is like the one I've been waiting for. Can you tell us about I'm not going to ask for your favorites because that would be mean. That'd be like picking your favorite children. Don't worry. It's just more like we only have a short amount of time. So can you share maybe like 2 or 3 or 4 winemakers that you work with that you'd like to highlight? I know they're not favorites. I promise. They're not favorites. They're just whatever comes to mind, and maybe give us like a good, like, diverse profile. Maybe a local one here in Washington, some outside of the Washington area. But I know they're not favorites, okay? Anybody listening, if she doesn't mention your name, they are not favorites. I'm just making her choose only 3 or 4.
Okay, so I'm going to choose this by style of wine.
Okay.
So from the red category, I would say Damsel Cellars and Mary Womack, who is the winemaker. She's out of Woodinville. She makes fantastic wine. It's like any wine of hers we sell, people just love it. And Mary's is so fun because she's kind of a jack of all trades. She's done everything from, in her past, being a interior designer, a real estate agent. I think she was a landscaper. And then she decided she wanted to learn wine. And in her winery, it's called Damsel Cellars, and one of her taglines is a damsel decidedly not in distress. And all of her wines are related to mythology. So they're really fun labels, fun stories with the wines, and the wine is fantastic. So Damsel Cellars is one.
Oh, and actually, speaking of Mary, we've actually done an interview with Mary. It's one of the earliest podcast episodes. It's like episode 7 or something like that. So if anybody's listening and you haven't been listening to this for a while, go back. It's back there. It might not be 7, but it's around there. And we do an interview with Mary because I totally agree. I think she's amazing.
Yes, she's so fun. Another winery that's also Washington based, now I'm lying because a lot of his are reds that I'm going to speak about, but he's an Indian winemaker. He just launched his winery last July. It's called Sama Cellars. Chaz Bangur is the winemaker. And he's also our blog feature this month. He has a PhD in a science PhD. I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm just going to say a science PhD. And you can really tell that comes through in his winemaking because he makes really light, yet Rhone style reds. So they're light in color, but still very complex. And there is not a wine of his that I have tried that I'm like, yeah, they are all just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I'm a big, bold red girl. So when you look, it's so confusing because it's just like, oh, that's gonna be lighter. I'm probably not gonna. Oh my gosh, this is delicious. So
Oh my gosh, I love that you brought up Saba Sellers because he was one that I met at Taste Washington and he like made my day because I went over to Taste and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Haley from Cork and Fizz, I was hoping you'd come over." I'm like, "Oh my god, you've just made my day. You know who I am and you're excited." And his wine was delicious. He had like a was it the Cinsault that he has that he does like cool he
yeah,
had it chilled and then at room temperature and they were like different based on the and it was so good. I'm very excited to visit the new winery or the tasting room that's opening
yeah.
up.
Yeah, because he's opened his tasting room in Redmond, and I love that, he thought about Woodinville, and he was like, "But how am I gonna stand out in Woodinville?" He was like, "I'll do Redmond," and it's just like, I love everything about Chaz. He's awesome. So that's another favorite.
Just a quick reminder, if you are not on my mailing list yet, what are you waiting for? I would love for you to join. When you do, you'll get a free shopping guide that has 15 of my favorite wines under $15. Head to corkandfizz.com, scroll down to the bottom, and there'll be a little section where you can join the mailing list. I send out a weekly newsletter filled with wine tips, recommendations, special offers, and so much more. Now, let's get back to the show.
I'll go over to South Africa now, and I love this story too because I was telling you about some of my distributors that they find stuff and, will email me of like, "Hey, Jamila, we found this." So I was over in South Africa. My friend that I was with, she had curated my whole trip. She has a travel company over there called Ubuntu Travel. And so she curated like all these wineries that we're going to go and visit. And before we started like our wine part of the tour, she was like, "Oh, I brought some wine. This is one of the winemakers you're going to meet. It's called Her Wine Collective." And she was like, "Her wines are fantastic." So as we're sitting there drinking the wine, I get an email from my distributor that said, "Hey, Jamila, I have some new wines for you to taste. We got this new one from South Africa. It's called Her. Let me know if you want to taste it." And I sent him a picture. I'm like, "Well, I'm drinking it right now and I'm meeting the winemaker in 2 days. And yes, order it. I want it in the bar before I get home." So, and right now, the wine that I want to highlight is Her Chenin Blanc is delicious. Like, right now, like, anytime someone comes in because we're having nice weather and it's like, "Oh, it's hot outside, what should we" I'm like, "Her Chenin Blanc," and they taste it and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." I was like, Black woman, South African, amazing winemaker. So, yeah, so that would be my white I would highlight. And then the last one that I would highlight is and this is a new winemaker. We just brought them in bar. They're not even on the menu yet. And I want to highlight his rosé is De La Luz out of Walla Walla. Victor De La Luz. He does an oak barreled rosé and I know you don't and it's like I had never had anything like it. It is delicious, complex, full-bodied for a rosé, like, the mouthfeel is just like, "What is happening right now?" So those are my wineries that I'd highlight. And again, not my favorites because I every wine that I have, but those are the ones that come to mind right now.
No, I love it. I just wanted to give you a little give folks a little taste that are listening. And I also want to highlight for those that are outside of Seattle, is there any way for them to try these wines? Do you do a club? Do you ship outside of Washington or outside of Seattle?
So, yes, both. We have a wine club. It's called the Phenomenal Wine Collective. So everything about WeRise is based off of the Maya Angelou poem, Still I Rise. And I say that, and I always preface this. So, like, Phenomenal Woman is one of her poems. So that's why it's called the Phenomenal Collective. And then our club names, we have our Sassy Club. There's a stanza in the Still I Rise poem of Does My Sassiness Upset You? So we have our Sassy Club, and that's our mixed varietal club that you're going to get a red, white, rosé, or sparkling every month. So it's monthly or quarterly, 6 bottles quarterly, 3 bottles monthly. We have our Sexy Club, and again, comes from a stanza in the poem of Does My Sexiness Upset You? And our Sexy Club, that's where you're going to have your non-red. So your whites, your rosés, your sparkling is what you're going to get in that club. And then we have our Sophisticated Club, which is from another poem, not the Still I Rise poem. And the sophisticated club is all reds. So we have 3 level of club, and yeah, and it's a great way. We ship throughout the United States except for the states we legally can't ship to.
Fair. Yes.
And other than that, we also have an online bottle shop. So you can order, we will ship. We deliver locally as well. So yes, we just don't ship outside of the United States right now. But other than that, we are trying to be as inclusive and expansive as possible.
No, I love it. And it sounds like for folks that are outside of the US, a great option once it's up on your website is checking out that list of all the different, wineries and things. So you can call those out and even ask at your local wine shopper with your distributors, like, hey, check out these wines. I'd like to try some of these, please.
Exactly,
I
exactly.
love it. Okay. I wanted to highlight that because I'm sure for folks listening, if I was you and I wasn't in Seattle, I'd be like, how do I try this wine? I want it like now. So
Right.
you have an option. You can come visit in Seattle as well. That would be great. But you can also order online. Now, talking about the winemakers, what kind of criteria do you look for in the winemakers that you're working with and with respect to the wines as well? Because I'm sure, like, a lot of times, I'm sure the complaint that folks hear a lot of, like, oh, if it's just about diversity, how do I know the wine's good? And it's like, okay, first of all, not fair. But I'm going to highlight this and give you a chance to talk on that because I'm sure not the folks listening, but for other folks that are like, okay, just diversity? Like, what else? So, what are some of the criteria you look for in the wine and the winemakers? Hey, wine lover, interested in trying new wines, but not sure where to start? Or maybe you've been thinking, I'd love to taste wine live with Haley. I mean, who isn't thinking that? Well, say hello to the Cork Crew, my virtual tasting club where wine meets fun, learning, and the best happy hour you've ever had, all from the comfort of your couch. Every month, we explore a new wine theme together. You'll get expert tips, delicious food pairings, and stories that bring each bottle to life. You can order the feature wines from my partner shop, grab something similar locally, or just sip whatever you've already got. No pressure and no wine purchase required in this club. In 2025, I've made this club even better. You get to choose between 2 tasting dates each month, and everything is recorded so you can catch up anytime. We've also just launched our exclusive Cork Crew app, where you'll find all of your event info, wine recommendations, community connection, all in one place. It is accessible via your phone or your computer. As a member, you'll also get 6 free guest passes so you can invite friends, quarterly wine trivia nights, winemaker Q&As, a private online community, discounts on private tastings, and so much more. And when I say everyone is welcome, I mean everyone. Whether you're brand new to wine or a total cork dork like me, you'll fit right in. Loud or quiet, wine curious or wine obsessed, this space is for you. Join today and get your first 2 months for just $8 a month. I mean, heck, that's like a drink at Starbucks. Use code WINE SPECIAL, no spaces, or you can save $80 on the yearly membership. When you sign up for the annual subscription, use code WINESPECIAL-YEAR. Head to thecorkcrew.com. That's thecorkcrew.com to sign up, and I'll see you at our next tasting. Cheers!
Well, I would say from a wine perspective that every single wine that I carry, I have personally tasted. Also, my tasting team, so my general manager, who is a CSW and WSET 2 level certification, and my assistant bar manager, who is a WSET level 3. So, it's just like, and it's like, I'm putting that out there because it's not just, oh, me and my friends tasted it and thought it was good. Like, we're going through the systematic approach to tasting wine and just like, yes, this meets the quality bar of what we consider to be outstanding or very good wines. So, it's just like, so we agree on a bar of like, yes, we want this wine in our bar. So that's from a wine perspective. And that's something that, I want people to know that we're personally curating these wines. Second, things that I look for in the winery is that one, I want to understand their story and what they're doing, how they're doing it, and how it resonates with our mission and making sure that it actually aligns well with us. So while we're continuing to find great wineries and bringing the and people come find us as well. It's just like, hey, we think we align with your mission. That aligning with the mission is only number one. I want to understand how people do business and how their business, we think that they'll be able to work with us. So it really comes back to the story. And that's something that I always tell the distributors, and especially when it comes to women wineries, is that, hey, it's great that you have this long list of women wineries, but what's the story? What's interesting about this? And what's interesting about the wine? Unfortunately, I have had distributors drop off samples of wine for us to taste. And I'm like, did they taste this? And it's just like, so if there's not a great story behind the wine alongside the wine being great, I will back away,
Yeah.
you know, if it's not going to work, because it's just like, I also want something that's going to resonate, because it's really that story that sticks with you. I always think about, I think it was last year, I was in Orcas Island and I went to this restaurant and I was looking at their wine list and I asked, like, hey, do you have any diverse wines? And they're like, oh, let us get us, we'll go get you our sommelier. And it was this tiny little restaurant bar. And I was like, they have a sommelier. And so the Sam comes over and he was like, oh, let me get you our other wine list. And I told him, what I was doing, what I was looking for. And he was like, oh, I have some great wines. They're not even going to be on the list. But what I remember was he brought me this bottle of wine. He was like, well, this one is from Italy. And the winemaker and owner, she's a woman and she's been the matriarch of their family. And she was like a rebel throughout World War II. And he's like telling me this great story of like what's resonating with me as a woman who likes to like break the rules and do things differently. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, I want to try her wine. And the wine was great. I couldn't tell you the name of the wine or the label or anything else, but I remember that story. And the next time I go to Orcas Island and go back to that place, I'm gonna talk to that Som and say, "You gave me this wine. It was an Italian wine. The woman was the matriarch of her family." And it's like, it's those types of things that I'm looking for versus I didn't have anything else to do, so I started making wine. Like, I wanna be able to tell a good story.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I think that's so true. So much. The wine that you remember is the one, the story behind it. Like, I love sharing wine with friends and I'll tell them about it and they'll be like, okay, Haley, but like, what grape variety is it? What is this? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. You probably want to know that too. I was just busy telling you about the experience that I had there, or the people that, because like that was the part that like I was really enthralled by. And I'm sure they enjoyed it too, but they're just like, Haley, what are we drinking? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. Sorry. Okay, I want to touch a little bit on the wine bar. So WeRise Wines is a wine bar right now, but I know for you it's more than just that. Can you tell me a little bit more about maybe like goals for the future? What does WeRise Wines look like 5, 10 years from now?
Yeah, so, it's one of those where it's like I always have to kinda stop myself of like, "Okay, we need to focus on this wine bar right now, don't go too crazy." But, like, when I envision the We Rise one, I want to have a model that's scalable. So, and I want to think about, okay, where can we go with We Rise in the concept of the bar as it is, and in other metropolitan areas that don't have access or is not easy access to wine countries. So that's one model. And when I think about even kind of near term in the next few years, I would love to have a version of We Rise at the airport, because again, if it's about getting a lot of exposure to the wines, to the wineries, that I think about the airport could be a great next location. So that's kind of near term. Longer term, and honestly, the original idea of We Rise that I see as kind of our phase two, and but it will take some, what do I want to say, negotiating with the LCB or figuring out appealing to the LCB. But I would love to have a tasting room incubator model in the city for wineries. And especially, there's a lot of diverse wineries that do not have tasting rooms. And, opening a tasting room is a big, expensive endeavor if you haven't fully built out your following and people knowing you. So it could be a risky endeavor. So I would love to explore that model. But I know that there's a lot of licensing that changes that would need to go alongside that. So that's one of the phases of WeRise. And then the other thing that I can see us moving into, and it may not be, it'll be under the WeRise umbrella, but maybe not the WeRise brand, is moving into distribution. Because one of the things that I see as successful WeRise is that as we're getting more access and people understanding the wines, the quality of the wines, that how can I help get these wines into restaurants, into grocery stores, things like that, and starting to be more of a distribution model. So when I think about the next phases of WeRise, that's how I think about it. And again, I'm trying not to overwhelm myself of like, oh, these are big, lofty goals. And right now, I'm just trying to, like, make sure that the wine bar is fully operational and building out that playbook that can be repeatable from that perspective, but that's how I think about WeRise.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that all sounds amazing. I love the idea of like first when you were just like thinking of like having WeRise in like other metropolitan areas, like you said, that don't have access. Like I'm originally from Wisconsin. It is hard to find small wineries and their wine in anywhere in Wisconsin, really. There's, a few spots maybe, but like I just think like, and I'm sure there's many other places across the US that like that idea is cool. And I love the idea of the airport because like I always stop at Vino Volo at the airport. That's like my go-to spot. I try to get there like at least an hour early, to have a glass of
Right.
wine. So I think that'd be so cool to have WeRise there. The idea, I was trying to like rack my brain. I can't think of the name of the winery, but there's a winery out in Virginia. Now, obviously, the Liquor and Cannabis Board is different, or just Liquor Board in some places. It's different in every state. But there's a winery out in Virginia that does a similar model of like bringing in different wineries. And I'm sure because they're a tasting room, also they're in a different state. But I could pass the name along to you once I think of it in case maybe they were able to work something out. But they also bring different wineries in with that same idea that like having a tasting room is difficult and building all of that, but it's the way to introduce people to your wine. And I think that's such a cool idea to have like an incubator, like you said, of like bringing in different wineries that can show off their wines. And so many fun, cool ideas. Okay, everybody's got to keep an eye out. Keep looking at WeRise Wines. Follow them on Instagram. I know you post a lot of their social media. If you're in Seattle, go visit the wine bar. Lots of exciting things. And if you're outside of Seattle, go check out the website. Is it just werisewines.com?
That
Okay,
is it.
werisewines.com. It'll be in the show notes as well for you to click on, so go check it out. Now, to finish off the episode, I always do a little speed round. And it's not like you have to answer super quickly. It's more just like whatever comes to mind first. So otherwise, these questions could take forever. All right. So, what is your favorite wine at the moment?
The Chenin Blanc.
Yeah, fair. I was like, I think I might know her answer. Okay, how about what is a go-to bottle of wine to bring to like a dinner party or to share with friends?
Oh, there's so many. I would probably say I really like, bringing E3, and I'll say the E3 Malbec, and E3 because it's a nonprofit winery that helps several different underrepresented communities. So it has a great story with it.
Yes, I love it. So like the idea is like bringing a wine that isn't just a good wine, but it's also a good story to share with your friends. Okay, how about your favorite wine region that you visited?
I guess I'm partial because I'd say South Africa since I just I just
Yeah.
got back from there a month ago, and it was incredible.
Hard to say not say that one. Okay, now we're gonna flip it. How about a wine region you'd like to visit that you haven't been to?
Well, there's so many, but I was just I love Spain. It's one of my favorite countries, and I really want to visit the wine regions in Spain, and specifically, there's one in the north of Spain. I forget the name of it, but I'm really interested in going there.
Is it north? Because north, I've been in northwest Spain, like Galicia, like in like where Albarino is, and like I can't think of the like wine region name, but like Galicia is like the city up there. It's so
Exactly.
beautiful. That's one of my favorite areas in Spain. I haven't been to everywhere in Spain, so like don't say that like I know everything about Spain, but it is beautiful, and the wine is the like fresh Albarino and all the seafood. Very very
Yes,
good.
yes, yes.
Okay, how about a favorite wine and food pairing?
Ooh. Ooh, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. I would say I love pairing like a good spicy dish. I love spicy booze with a nice dry or off dry Riesling. I think it can, yes.
Okay, I love it. I love it. All right, two last questions. Actually, I think I just have one last question. Yes, okay. If you were given $1,000 to spend on wine, what would you buy?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Like,
That's a
what would be the route that you would go? Because the thing is, it kind of like, I feel like people either go like, oh, I want to like get the really expensive stuff because like $1,000, I could get a couple really fancy bottles. Someone else has answered that they would just like go to the wine shop and say, hey, I have $1,000, fill up 2 cases of wine for a party. But I'm curious, what would be like, I just gave you $1,000. I said, you have to spend this on wine. What route would you go to use up that $1,000?
Oh, I would probably go the route of checking out some extremely exclusive wines that, it's just like you hear about and really saying like, is it worth the money? So I would probably go that route. I don't know exactly what I would buy because I would do a little bit of research. But yeah, if I just had it, it's just like, let's try it. And I would actually probably want to take something that's really exclusive and expensive and put it up against one of my diverse wines and do a blind wine tasting with it with some folks, and it's just like, let's see what people would choose.
I love it. Yeah, it's kind of going the route of like, okay, like if it's not my money I have to spend on it, let's go grab it and then let's compare. And see if it's
Exactly,
really that exclusive and that special, or is it just a good marketing on their case?
exactly.
Okay, I love it. All right, that is the end of my questions. Is there anything else you want to share before we end the interview with folks?
No, I just wanna say both thank you for, having me and this has just been delightful and to the listeners that, thank you for listening and I hope it was enjoyable for them.
Yes, wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining and for talking about WeRise. I'm really excited to first, I've been down there, but I need to bring some friends down so we can taste some wine down there and for seeing where it goes from here.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope we get a chance to collaborate more. It would be fun.
Yes, definitely. All right. Cheers. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Cork and Fizz Guide to Wine podcast. If you're in the Seattle area, be sure to go visit WeRise Wine Bar in downtown Seattle. If you're outside of the area, check out werisewines.com to shop their online bottle shop or join one of their incredible wine clubs. And be sure to follow at WeRise Wines on Instagram to follow their journey and discover amazing, diverse winemakers. If you love this episode as much as I did, please just take a second. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you can write a review. Tell me what you liked about the episode. Tell me what you like about the podcast. And if you're on Spotify, just give it a rating. 5 stars would be appreciated, but you tell me what you think of the podcast. And if you know a wine lover in your life who would enjoy this episode, please share it with them. In next week's episode, I'll be sharing my take on 2025 wine trends. I figured we're about halfway through the year, so it'd be fun to share my opinion on trends such as natural and organic wines, low and no alcohol wines, orange wines, wines that tell a story, and so much more. I'll share if I think they're purely trendy or if there's something I think or maybe hope will stick around. Thanks again for listening, and if you want to learn more about wine, come follow me at Cork and Fizz on Instagram. And if you're interested in exploring new wines and joining an incredible community of wine lovers, be sure to sign up for my virtual tasting club, The Cork Crew. Head to thecorkcrew.com and learn more, and use code WINESPECIAL, no space, WINE SPECIAL, to get your first 2 months for just $8 a month. Cheers!